Please be informed that this session will be recorded. All right. So meet your day one facilitators. So just to quickly introduce myself. I'm Jonathan Bertolome, or you can call me Nathan. I've been working in Salesforce for about 6 years. I work as a Salesforce functional, data migration and integration, Einstein Analytics dev, and currently as a Salesforce dev. Miss Sandra, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to you. You can just call me Zandra. Alejandra is too long. I'll be your co-MC and panelist for today. I've been in the IT industry for over 17 years already and about 6 years in program and project management. So some of the key responsibilities that I've handled is a PMO manager, support manager, and a delivery manager for projects such as Salesforce implementation, .NET implementation, IBM support implementation, and other platforms that I think some of you can recognize already. I'm a graduate of computer science at Trinity University of Asia, and I'm currently a delivery manager at Deloitte. So, Joel?
Okay, so hi everyone, welcome to our SCJ. So I'm Joel. I'm the director right now in Philippine Delivery Center here of Deloitte. So I've been in the IT industry for I don't want to say the years already. So it's been a long time. Let's just say that. But with regards to Salesforce, I've been involved with it for about 13 years, and yep. So I've been doing different roles ranging from project manager, delivery manager, and been a capability lead as well of Salesforce. And then I'm a graduate of BS Math, major in computer science in UST. And then what else? Yep, I think that's it. I'll pass it over now to Mike.
Hi everyone. Am I audible?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Michael Asala, or you can call me Mike for short. I graduated from De La Salle College of St. Benilde, majored in computer applications. So I'm currently a Salesforce senior consultant in Deloitte with over 11 years of experience in the platform.
So the reason why we're gathered here today is because we want to showcase, what Salesforce is and what we do at Deloitte, in terms of, our implementations, the different work that we do, to sharing a little bit about the platform and encouraging you to kind of look into it a little bit more as a future career path. And also, given that the Philippines Delivery Center is actively recruiting, it would also be a great way for on the call to kind of give you an insight into, what the work looks like and what opportunities are available after graduation. So very quickly, there are three main reasons why Salesforce is important and why we are encouraging learning. First being that Salesforce is super popular. So for folks who do not know yet, Salesforce is a popular CRM tool, a customer relationship management tool that many companies use. So over 83% of Fortune 500 companies use Salesforce. Deloitte uses Salesforce as well. So learning it will be super important as you kind of consider different types of career opportunities. Salesforce is also a major job creator, so not just at Deloitte, but also at all the different companies and at their own company as well. So knowing Salesforce and learning the platform will be super helpful to have as you start thinking about your career growth. And then last but not least, having a Salesforce certification. So, even learning and then getting certified in it will kind of, improve your, recruitability, especially having that on your resume, right? It is impressive to have someone who knows the system. And so having that on your resume will be super helpful as you consider future options as well.
Thank you for that, Joey, and that's very informative. And let's move on to intro to Deloitte. And Sir Joel, would you like to introduce Deloitte?
Okay, thanks, Nathan. So yeah, Deloitte. So as you can see, we have a very interesting picture image here. As you can see, this is the ranking, as you would say, for the CRM and customer service implementation service. As you could see, we are leading among the other companies here. So I'm not sure if every one of you is familiar already with Deloitte. So if you go to the next slide, please. So if you Google Deloitte, so you would see that it's one of the big four um, professional service network in the world. So I guess some of you might have heard Deloitte as a more on the tax or audit side of things, but we do have a consulting part as well. And then within this consulting, just about more than 2 years ago, Deloitte decided that they would establish a delivery network here in Manila. So we do have a consulting side as well in Manila, but they decided to have a delivery network within Manila. So as you could see here in this slide, we have a number of delivery networks all over the world. So it's categorized by three, or classified as three centers. You have a global, regional, and a local. And of course, the global is the one in India, since this is really the largest delivery network that we have for Deloitte. And for the regional, we have a couple of regional delivery center. So we have one in Mexico and several in Spain and Romania, and then Philippines, or also China, and then the Philippines. So Philippines actually is targeted to service around the APAC or Oceania region. So this is in the Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. So we are working together with mostly with those countries there on their projects. But we are not limited on that side. We are also expanding and have been servicing as well the other um, member firms of the Deloitte within, let's say, US, Canada, UK, Germany. So we are actually being acting like a global delivery network as well. So hopefully we would eventually get to that point. So that's one of the goals, or one of the you know um, target that we have. Okay, and could you go to the next slide? So why did they decide to establish a delivery center in Manila? So with this following categories or classifications that we have. So first is quality. So like I mentioned, we were servicing APAC and Oceania region. So we were sharing resources to them, to their projects. And actually, they really preferred to have us work along with them on the project, since they really like the quality that being delivered by the delivery center here. Another is the capability. So we have a large number of resources here in Manila who are highly trained. So especially, we have a lot of technology graduates, including you guys, who would eventually be joining the workforce as well. So aside from being highly trained, and you also have a strong background or strong understanding of English, and you could speak English fluently as well. So that's one of the things that they like about as well. That's why they're dealing with the delivery center. And then also the development. So they are seeing that we can adapt easily and get to learn different portfolios or different services that would fit the needs of the different member firms. And then the location. So we are strategically located, so to be able to serve the APAC region and the Australia and New Zealand, but as well as we could also work during the nighttime on the side of the US or um, part of Europe. So once they're done with their work, they could continue with whatever task that they have, and then pass it over to them. So it's like following the sun. And then there are certain restrictions as well on some of the delivery centers that we don't have here in Manila. Like for example, the nuclear energy clients, for some delivery center, they were not able to service those clients, but here in Manila, we could do that. And then the value, we are actually aligned with the global delivery excellence standards. So this is applied to every one of the delivery center. So we would have a quality and value presented over to each of the work that we have done. So could you please move to the next slide? And then just to give you an idea on how we are currently operating. So ever since April 2020, we have moved to a hybrid type of working model. So it's more of combining work from home and work from office. So especially now during this pandemic, it's really, beneficial for us to be able to work from home. And Deloitte was able to provide us with all the equipment that we need in order to do this. So we have our standard laptop, we have our headset, our monitors, and then, well, aside from that, you could continue working from the office, which is located right now in BGC. And as you could see in the picture here, we have a very large office around 2 floors, where you could, do your work well. You are secured. You have training rooms. You have comfortable chairs and desks, and you have meeting rooms as well. So next slide, please. Okay, and then with the different capabilities, as you could see, we have a couple of different technologies that we are doing or servicing, and one of them is Salesforce. So if you are interested in any of that, so we are welcoming you to apply, within the Deloitte. And then the different capabilities or services that we could provide here in PDC, as you could see down below on the slide, is from end to end. So right from doing solutions, doing designs, and doing implementation, and then from the analysis and down to the testing and deployment. So that's what we were able to provide to our member firms. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, with this one, I'll turn it over to you, Sandra, or Franz.
Thank you, Joel. So, since the start of the Philippines Delivery Center, we have what we call a University Alliance program, wherein we partnered with different universities such as University of the Philippines, University of Santo Tomas, I Academy, to name a few. But apart from these universities, we also have partnered with other state universities wherein most of you are a graduate from. And these are the partners from Assist. By the way, Assist is our CSR partner that has helped us execute a lot of strategic programs for our world-class campaign. So to discuss an introduction on Assist, I'll turn you over to Franz. Franz?
Thank you, Zandra, and thank you, Sir Joel, for the introduction. Um, my name is Franz Rania. I'm a social actions manager at Assist, and like Zandra mentioned, we are the social actions partner of the Deloitte here in the Philippines. And I think in the previous slide, Sir Joel already briefed you about the capability of Deloitte as a global multidisciplinary service provider. But one thing that we are actually actively working on is to create an impact that matters. And that is really like the slogan of the world class program. And it is our shared responsibility here in the Philippines to create that impact that matters. And through upskilling and making sure that the Filipino youth, particularly in the marginalized community, will be able to prepare for the fourth higher skills or for the fourth industrial revolution in general. And I think one of the initiatives that we are applying is this Salesforce Career Journey. And of course, it's Salesforce Career Bootcamp as well that really makes sure that all of you here are, well prepared for the job that entails in the Salesforce framework or the ecosystem. But I think one thing that noteworthy to mention is that beyond the Salesforce career journey, Deloitte is actually has multiple or other world-class initiatives. And as you can see here in the slide, we have developed video learning modules on cloud computing, mobile development, business continuity management system, and cybersecurity that you can easily use or watch, for professional and personal development. I believe some of the participants here actually, got certified or have already watched the videos. But of course, we have other learners in our ecosystem or in our network. So we'd be very happy if we can share this opportunity to them. And of course, we are ironing out more and more social impact activities under the World Class program that we cannot wait for you, that we cannot wait for to share with you, our World Class learners. Of course, I don't want with the actual agenda for this meeting or for this session, but yeah, I think just know that the World Class is here to help you, the Filipino youth, to become, to be upskilled for the fourth IR backdrop, and we cannot wait for you to be impacted by Deloitte through these initiatives that we have. So of course, like Joey mentioned, we want this session to be as interactive or as engaging as possible. So um, feel free to ask questions, be curious, ever curious, so at least we can help you and really, really help you throughout your Salesforce career journey. Um, I think, yeah, we'll make sure to send you this presentation, so at least you have, like a further reference after the session. And yeah, we cannot wait, and we hope that to have you, in the succeeding sessions as well. Over to you, Nathan.
Yeah, so we're just gonna very quickly talk a little bit about the different types of work that Deloitte does specifically to Salesforce. So on the slide here, we do touch multiple areas of designing a system. It could be from data migration, it can go to strategy planning, as well as designing a system for like from a front end point of view. And I'm sure, as part of the PDC, you're going to work on a bunch of different projects. And that's the kind of the beauty of Salesforce too, is that it's super flexible as long as you have the core foundation. I think, Joel, do you have additional points
Yep.
on?
Yep, sure. Yeah, so aside from what Joey mentioned, so you could see as well there are things that you could do with Salesforce, like integration. So you get to connect with different systems, and then also perform some analytics. So you could, review the data and see how you could turn it out into something more meaningful to your clients, and also, great implementation. I think that's one of the things that we are really very good at, and really have a lot of people working on that side. So doing implementation, coding, programming. So yeah, so that's what I think that you could expect if you're doing if you get to join the Salesforce team. Okay. Um, yep. For this one, I'll take Joey. I'll take over this one. So why do we need to take a Salesforce admin exam? So why do we care? So it's something that really important to us, being a practitioner of Salesforce, since it's going to be something that shows you how proficient or you are with regards to the platform. And also, getting to know the basics, doing the configuration, understanding the objects, the standard objects, and how everything works. So I think this is one thing that would help you, learn all of those things. And then when you take on the exam, you will be able to, pass it. And the target audience for this is, yeah, like I mentioned, is going to be the general knowledge for the features. So that's what you will know or get to learn for this one. And able to maintain a Salesforce org response to business requirements and perform administrative action. So how do you study for this exam? So you go through the several Trailhead modules that we have, also the hands-on activities that those Trailheads have inside, and also try to do some practice exams, because that will help you a lot, with regards to preparing you for the exam. And then try to do some other self-study. You could look at YouTube's and other training materials that are available right now online. So yep, and that once you have, you're prepared, you could get your certification and take that exam.
All right, so let's start the panel session. Okay, let's start with the intro story. Let's start with Miss Sandra. Miss Sandra, could you please share briefly about the project you've been in the past year?
Thank you, Nathan. So before I share my delivery experience, I just wanted to remind everyone that trailhead sessions that was mentioned earlier during the discussion on the deck presentation, you can do that after this call. So that will allow you, of course, to know more about Salesforce if you wanted to prepare about a certification that you are planning to take. Apart, of course, from if you wanted to enroll in a class and later on attend the bootcamp that we're going to discuss later on. So going back to Nathan's question, one of the biggest projects that I've handled during the past year is eye care. So eye care is an insurance and care services for the people of New South Wales. It insures about 284,000 employers and about 3 million employees. They have more than 32 billion dollars in assets, and they are one of the largest insurance providers in Australia. So the challenge here is they have embarked on a transformation journey to redefine the way people think about insurance and care by providing world-class services to people, business, and communities. So their ambitious agenda is to simultaneously build a new brand in the market, making the role of their public website extremely important in earning trust and demonstrating the organization's commitment to high quality outcomes for the people of New South Wales. So Deloitte partnered with iCare to consolidate 5 disparate online instances into one unified experience. So Deloitte Digital's team, together with the Philippines Delivery Center, are working or have worked to provide an end-to-end implementation of the front-end presentation layer, working mainly on the newly selected strategic CMS platform, Sitecore, and of course, the integration partner of their portal or their work integration portal, which is MuleSoft Cloud Hub platform. So they also have leveraged the Salesforce platform to improve the service providers' invoicing and payments via self-service onboarding for digital payments. They also have enabled the single point contact for customer experience and operating model for dust disease care onboarding. So apart from that, they also have expanded the claims management capabilities for TBE, which is one of their authorized provider, and have expanded the claims management capabilities to multiple authorized providers aside from TBE. They have enabled Allianz GIO with secure data access framework. Nathan, you wanted to ask something?
I want to ask Ms. Sandra, are there any changes due to the pandemic or COVID-19 and the virtual nature of delivering the client work?
Thank you, Nathan. So actually, ever since or before the pandemic has started, since we are a delivery center, we would normally communicate and collaborate with our onshore counterparts. So our onshore counterparts can sit anywhere in the globe, as mentioned by Joel and earlier. So in iCare, for instance, our onshore counterpart sits in Australia. So most of our meetings are what we call the daily stand-up. That's the agile term, is done by a Zoom call. So if not by a Zoom call, we would utilize Teams. So in short, we would utilize the technology for us to better collaborate across the globe. And that has continued when the pandemic started and until today. So it has been, I would say, a seamless communication and collaboration with them apart from the occasional problems with the Wi-Fi connectivity here in Manila. So Mike, just wanted to ask you, how has your project been like in the past year from a COVID standpoint?
Yeah, so I have to completely agree with you. So from my end, I think the most challenging would be the team collaboration due to less face-to-face conversation. So from a work from home perspective, I had to make adjustments at home to be efficient. For example, I had to create a workspace which is free from distractions to create an environment as if I'm in the office. Another unexpected occurrence, like you mentioned again, is when connectivity is unavailable. So, alam naman natin, minsan nagda-down bigla ang internet, depende sa service provider. But this, despite these challenges, I'm really grateful for the support that Deloitte has provided us for us employees to improve our work from home capability. For example, they provided us external monitors to increase productivity and dedicated Zoom accounts to enable collaboration with colleagues and clients. Aside from that, Deloitte also found ways for us to help distress through various online activities like monthly town halls and virtual team building activities.
Thank you for that, Mike. Would love to hear about the work that you've been doing at your clients over the last year. But before we jump into that, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yep, sure. So way back in elementary and high school, so I was already fascinated with computers, mainly dahil sa computer games, which is why I always enjoyed attending my computer classes. So as mentioned in my intro, I graduated from De La Salle College of St. Benilde, majored in computer applications. So during my stay there, I learned Visual Basic, C Sharp, HTML, and JavaScript. Sana matutunan yung Java before, but unfortunately, it wasn't part of the curriculum back then. So, yung programming fundamentals that I built up during college helped me kickstart my career because despite having to learn a different programming language when I came into consultancy, the logic would always remain the same. So at the end of the day, yung coding syntax lang ang nag-iiba.
That's good to know. I love hearing that you wanted to connect your major and get experience in IT work. Could you tell us a little more about what kind of problems your clients face in the projects you've been on?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, so the client I was working on back then already had an existing Salesforce system, but they wanted to roll out additional countries. So by default, yung regional functionalities dapat mag-apply sa bawat additional country na i-implement. Pero on top of that, each country would also have a unique set of features.
Um, Now that we know a little bit about the problem, what are you solving for as a team?
So, in summary, our team had to collaborate with numerous groups from the client. So, this would include the functional team, technical team, business team, and the actual end users to understand their current process, identify pain points, and which processes can be further improved upon.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank you, Miss Sandra and Mike, for sharing your experience on the project you were on to. And I think our students are eager to hear more about Mike and Joel's stories more, right? So, Miss Sandra, would you like to invite Michael or Joel to share some client issue or
Mhm.
impact?
But Mike, I think we would also love to hear what your specific role is on your project, and you know the different types of people that you work with as well.
Sure. So initially, I started out as a developer, assisting my technical lead on various development tasks. So in the succeeding implementation, naging all around the call because I was responsible for several aspects of the project. So namely technical solution design, data migration, deployment process, and integration between Salesforce and the client's middle layer, which is Informatica. While in another implementation, I was responsible for any change requests raised by the business and production incidents. While in my last implementation, my role was quite similar when I was all around. The only difference was that we had to create an integration between Salesforce and the client's CPQ system.
Got it. And I guess in the people that you work with, are they all usually programmers? And if so, what kind of backgrounds do they have?
Not really. So from my end, I'm on the technical side, but within a team, depending on the scope of the project, we would also have functional resources, project manager, and if any testing is required as well, we would have testers as well in the team.
And I think you mentioned a couple of different, clients that you worked with. Could you maybe talk a little bit about the different kinds of industries overall that you have personally been part of, and how our footprint is kind of spread throughout?
Yeah. So in my case, I don't have like a specific, like a specialized industry. Although I have worked in the banking, financial services, technology, media, and telecom industries.
I see. Do you have any favorites?
I think for now, due to my experience, I would say financial services. In terms of the processes that they have, and for some reason, we would always have interesting clients in the financial sector.
Sorry about that, Mike. So we were discussing earlier about your project experience. I'm not sure if you were able to get into a conversation about where you will discuss a little bit about the problems that you have faced as a team.
Yes, so we've yeah, we actually have gone through that. So I think at this point we're actually switching the focus on you. So
Okay.
yes, yes. So how about you? What has been your favorite part out of work, out of all the projects you've worked on as a delivery manager?
So they say that project management is an art and science. So the science part of it is that you have to manage the pyramid in terms of making sure that you are on time, on budget, and then the deliverables are within quality. But what I liked about project management, specifically in delivery management, is the science part of it, wherein you have to do stakeholders management. You also have to manage your team. So it's really basically about relationship building. So it's not just about getting the work done, but you have to make sure that you get your work done through other people. And for you to do that, you have to be able to build a positive relationship with them. So I think the science part of it can be learned from the different online learning sessions, but the art part of it, which is the building of relationships, getting your work done through your teammates and your stakeholders, that is really learned through experience, and of course by having a coach to remind you or to teach you where you're doing well and what are the points that you have to improve on.
All right, all right. So, yeah. So while you were away, actually, Joey already asked me, if I was specialized in any industry. So I've already mentioned that. So, but on your part, are you specialized in any specific industry?
I think what's good about consulting is that when you get to manage projects, you get to align yourself to a lot of industries, thus gaining more experience and exposure to different kinds of projects. Okay, so let's continue. Joel, how long you have been in Deloitte for around the same time as Mike did. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at Deloitte?
Okay, so yeah, so I joined Deloitte to be the Salesforce capability lead. So that's how I started, and then my responsibility was that I have to look after the career growth of the Salesforce team. So making sure that their Salesforce skills are aligned with what the project demands, and I also took care, of their trainings and certification. And aside from that, I also did the role of the delivery manager, coordinating with the onshore team on resourcing and overseeing the offshore team on the different projects, which range from doing delivery and doing support. And recently, I just have been, promoted to director position, and now I'm managing the digital customer portfolio where Salesforce is one of the capabilities housed. So there are a lot of other capabilities as well that I am managing. And just to give you a background, I graduated, like I mentioned earlier, a BS Math degree, majoring in computer science and UST. So you would say, why math, right? So, well, at that time, since the olden days, there's no course yet dedicated to computer science, so it's more on the math. Um, so I didn't realize that before when I was in UST. So when I applied to their course, but math is really something that helped me build out my skills in solving a problem logically. So which I was able to carry over in programming. And this was a course wherein I really learned about the basics of programming, ranging from the object oriented into the database normalization.
What is the problem your current client is facing?
Okay. A lot of companies, have been transforming their business processes into digital, especially right now due to the pandemic. So everybody wants to complete transactions and do business online. So that's where Deloitte helps out. We as a consultant, we try to understand how they conduct their businesses with their clients, ask questions on the different scenarios that they're doing, and then translate those over into a digital process. So that's what we are, helping them out with their problems.
Curious to know, Joel, how is your team like? Are they comprised of people who play a similar role as you, communicating with the business?
Well, okay. I have worked with several types of teams. It can be as small as a one-man team, or as big as a project of around 40 team members. So they have different roles. So the team can consist of project manager, developers, business analysts, scrum master, tester. So like I said, they each has their own roles on the project. And they usually work closely with the onshore teams, from the Deloitte member firms, which are Deloitte entities from the different countries. And sometimes, the team has a chance to work directly with the clients, which are usually from the Fortune 500 companies.
You've obviously worked with a bunch of different people, many of whom started as young, inspired individuals like the one we have on the call. What are the few things that you think can really help the students excel in a career at Deloitte?
Okay. Well, of course, one needs to have the technical skills. So that's one that's needed to be developed right now in your school, and also whenever you get to join some trainings, maybe just personal, or maybe within the company that you get to join. So hopefully they would have trainings as well that will help you hone that technical skills. However, one should have that passion. So your passion is really important. So one should be really interested in knowing as much as one can about the technology, or Salesforce for this matter. And one should always be curious, palaging nagtatanong, asking questions, and one should not be afraid to speak out, share your ideas, your suggestions, even if you think it's not that really important, or you think na maliit lang siya. But, sometimes those small ideas can really impact a lot of things. So we look for that kind of people who have that passion, you talaga may drive.
Since we're talking about technical skills, Joel, we have a question in the chat box. So, yung tanong niya is, which programming language is the most used at Deloitte?
Oh, okay. Most use. Well, for the size of the teams that we have, Salesforce is the largest one. So we have around 150 people already. So sa team, no? So I would say the language being used by within Salesforce, so your Apex, the Lightning. So those are the things that would really be useful to learn. And aside from that, of course, you need to know some other Javas that would complement. I mean, language that would complement that. So your Java, JavaScript, and even .NET, like I mentioned kasi earlier, di ba, may integration that you will get to do. So yeah, it's really a lot of things that would help you out. So it's not really just one. If you know a lot of different language, that will be, your advantage.
What has been your favorite moment in your consulting career so far?
Okay, favorite moment in my consulting career, I would say, is when you get a chance to collaborate with diverse and talented people. So you try to find the best solution that you can for the project. So you'll discuss among your teammates what are the different ideas, what are the suggestions that they have. So that's what I think I really like about, especially with Deloitte, because you get the chance to do that. It's not just a one-man team that does the project, right? So of course there will be challenges encountered. It may be technical or not, but you could see really the effort of everyone on the project helping each other out. So I think that's really one of the things that I really like.
Thank you so much for that, Joel. Now, on to you, Mike. We want to talk a little bit about why consultants are brought in for this technology transformation.
Okay, so mainly it's to either um, implement a new system or optimize their existing one. So in the case of developing new systems, consultants are equipped to integrate legacy systems to ensure a seamless transition. So companies with a great track record like Deloitte have worked in various industries and numerous clients to solve business problems and promote growth. So consultants also give an objective perspective to the client. So syempre, since the client is already well aware of their processes, there are chances na maging bias sila on how to do things. So we as consultants make them realize to think out of the box. So other than that, we also analyze opportunities or gaps to improve or reduce processes while still maintaining quality and efficiency. Isa pa is to provide expertise on a platform. So in our case, Salesforce. Kasi yung mga consultants, may mga specialized skill sets yan, which the client might not have in-house. So namely Salesforce configuration, development, data migration, integration, and deployment.
So, Mike, we have another question from the chat box.
Yep.
Can someone with no technical or coding background and has a non-IT degree become a successful Salesforce professional?
Definitely, definitely. So actually, when I first started working as a Salesforce consultant after I graduated from college, I had a lot of batchmates that didn't actually come from an IT industry or graduated from an IT related course. It's just that despite them coming from different degrees or different industries, they have that drive, to to learn and educate themselves. Salesforce.
That's exciting to know. So, Mike, what has been your most memorable moment for you in a project for the past years?
Well, I would say the most memorable is when I was deployed on site with a client, because I was able to travel to different countries, and due to that, I was also able to experience the different cultures each client has, and due to that, it also led me to have deeper relations with them.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Joel. So it's exciting to know the different backgrounds and experiences of our panelists at consulting, specifically on Salesforce implementation. So over to you, Nathan.
Yep. So I think we answered all the questions they asked. Should we give more like a minute to we'll be opening the floor for you guys to ask more questions if you have. Don't be shy. Just ask anything. Yeah.
My question is, what's the difference between WordPress and Salesforce? because some of their features are similar.
Okay. Well, s- WordPress and Salesforce, so they are different types of platforms where you would do programming, right? It's a different solution that would you be able to come up with. So for Salesforce, we have different solutions like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud that you'll be able to create using the language that we have. So aside from doing configuration, so that's a declarative type of programming. But if you do some customization, you get to use some Apex language and Visual Force and Lightning. And it's a different type of language. Although you would say the basics, logic between the two might be similar, since both are programming. But yeah, it's a different type of platform that you're going to be using. So, yep, I think that's the difference that I would see.
Thank you, Joel. So we have three more questions. One is, how is a Salesforce developer differs from a Salesforce consultant?
Take this. So mainly, as a Salesforce developer is just like focused on any technical aspect of the project. But then, if you're a Salesforce consultant, so you could be like a bit of both. So basically, you're a Salesforce consultant can be a Salesforce developer, but on top of that, the person can also be a Salesforce functional. So I think that's the difference, because usually, a functional resource wouldn't have the expertise on any of the technical information from Salesforce.
Thank you, Mike. So we have two more questions. So in the interest of time, we're going to answer the second question, because the first one is more on Trailhead, because I think that will be covered by Joey in a bit. So the question is, what type of Deloitte Salesforce work do you recommend for those who do not have coding skills? So,
Okay.
uh,
So it's gonna be, if you're not gonna do some coding, I think that would fall around doing configuration, right, on the Salesforce side. I think it's gonna be the BA type of role that you're gonna be doing if you're not gonna be expected to do some coding. So, but you have to learn, the concepts of what Salesforce is, so that whenever you have that conversation with the client, you could provide information on how Salesforce work and how it would fit into um, the problems that they have and what solution that we could provide, you know, implementing Salesforce to them.
okay.
So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Joel. Joey, would you like to answer the question on Trailhead, or maybe we can proceed to the deck wherein you'll discuss
Yes.
more about the
that would be-
Trailhead and how they can create an account?
Yeah. Sounds
Can
good.
you move? Thank you, Joey.
No problem. So Nathan, if you can move to the next slide. So during the application process, we did get your Trailhead information. So if you haven't created a Trailhead account already, I would highly recommend you to do so. And then if you do have, let's say, a different email account that you use outside of the ones that you signed up for a CJ with, you can just drop Nathan an email so we can track it. But you should have included that already in the SJ application, so no problem there. But in the event that you need to, let's say, create a new account, you would do so by going to trailhead.salesforce.com. And this is the tool that lets you learn Salesforce. This is how I personally learned Salesforce. I spent 2 weeks on Trailhead, doing individual modules, and they actually have a demo org that you can use, so you can configure Salesforce, just by yourself, which is very, very cool and very interesting to learn. I personally did not have a tech IT background. I came from like economics when I studied in university. So learning Trailhead is very easy. I would highly encourage all of y'all to do that. And that kind of also ties back into the purpose of the event, right? Which is to kind of give you a flavor of what Salesforce consulting looks like, right? Hearing from Zandra, from Joel, from Mike about their experiences doing Salesforce implementations, and this will hopefully encourage you to also get a head start on trying out some of the modules on Trailhead, because we will have openings as well in PDC that we're looking for Salesforce consultants and developers as well. As a next step, if you could flip to the next slide, we will have our second session next week. So we'll be sending out further information in an upcoming email. And we'll also be sending you a list of different trailheads that we recommend you to try out, just to try out how Salesforce consulting would work and what Salesforce configuration would look like. So keep an eye on that. And I cannot emphasize this enough that it's a great way to learn Salesforce, but also a great way to I guess make yourself more employable just overall on your resume. That's kind of all that I had from my end. Anything else from our other panelists about maybe like job opportunities or whatnot? Sandra?
So based from what Joey has mentioned, the Philippines Delivery Center, of course, is actively hiring, but I will let the discussion or the announcement come, of course, from our esteemed director, Joel.
Okay, so yeah, so we are currently actively hiring resources. It's not, so we are looking for Salesforce developers, but if you don't have any knowledge about it or any background about Salesforce, we do have a program, the bootcamp program, wherein you would be trained to learn about doing custom development in Salesforce. So like I mentioned earlier, you'll get to know Apex, Visual Force, and Lightning with this bootcamp training. And aside from Salesforce, we are also hiring on the different capabilities like .NET, Java, what else? MuleSoft. So if you have any backgrounds on that, front end development. So yeah, just look us in our LinkedIn and search Deloitte for links where you could apply and send out your CVs.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Joey, I think you can wrap up the first session.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Thank you, Xander. Thanks, Joel. And thanks for the other panelists as well, Mike and Nathan as well. We're very excited to continue on with day 2 and day 3 of the session. And, looking forward to have you all get started on Trailhead and be actively involved with all the different recruitment opportunities as well. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.